so much once again, Ram Puniyani, sir. And it's a wonderful possibility and opportunity for people like us and for a platform like us to have such a brilliant personality and outspoken personality like you. And your name does not need a mention,
Very fine.
introduction, but you are MD medicine by profession, and by passion you are a historian, social scientist, and you're also a voice which needs a lot of courage and kind of dedication to have at least in this context. So thanks a lot for that, and we are very glad
Thank
to
you.
have you. And would like to sort of mention the topic which is very important today at the platform. It says like India at the crossroads: communalism, secularism, and the future of democracy. Would like to move on to my first question without spending any time, sir. This is very important question. Says, what does Hindutva versus Hinduism, distinguishing cultural religion from political ideology?
Yeah. See, Hinduism is a religion which is a conglomerate of various tendencies within Hinduism, like Brahmanism, Nath, Tantra, Bhakti, Shaiv, Siddhant. See, over a period of time, actually, the word Hindu begins as a geographical category for people living on the east of Sindhu. This word was coined by Iran and the people coming from the west. And the religious tendencies which were prevailing here were put together later on around 13th century as Hinduism. So Hinduism basically is a religion, various sects of which are followed by most of the Hindus living in the country. Now this Hindutva is a political category. Now this was earlier coined in 1892, but it was in some idealist sense. But as a political category, it was coined by Vinayak Damodar Savarkar in his book Hindutva, or Who is a Hindu. In this, he says Hindutva is not just Hinduness. It is not just a religion. It is a conglomerate of three things. One is the geographical entity spreading from Sindhu River to the sea. Second is the Aryan race. And third is the Brahminical culture. So these three are the foundations of Hindutva, which is a politics, in contrast to the politics of, for example, Muslim nationalism by Muslim League, or some other type of nationalism which prevails in Sri Lanka and Myanmar in the name of Buddhism. So Hindutva is a politics. To cut it short, I can just give the example. Like Mahatma Gandhi was a great Hindu, and his assassin Nathuram Godse, was following the politics of Hindutva.
Mhm.
So that is, in a rough way, trying to define these two categories, which are quite confusing to most of the people.
Thanks a lot, sir. This is very important that you've given the Assassini and Mahatma Gandhi. That's a live example, I would say. What is Hindutva and Hinduism, the difference between the two? And would like to move on to my second question. Again, one question says, rise of communal politics from Babri Masjid to present day narratives. What has changed actually?
Actually, see, before Babri demolition, the politics of Hindu nationalism, which can also be in summary called Hindutva, it has become much more stronger, because Babri Masjid demolition was followed by a lot of violence, and because of this violence there has been a polarization, and it gave a lot of confidence. The Babri demolition gave a lot of confidence to the parties which are pursuing Hindutva politics, precisely BJP and its parent organization RSS, and so many parallel organizations floated by RSS to achieve the goal of Hindu nation. So from 92 onwards, it has been making very rapid and strong strides in different aspects of human life. And political strength is just one of them. In political strength, if we see, I think from 1995, it was the first time that BJP came to power in the central government. That was the first time. Then after that, it came to power again as a NDA in 1998. Then after a gap of around 12 years, 13 years, in 2014, its electoral strength went on rising. So my argument is, as Babri demolition took place, violence in the society also stepped up. With the violence, there came polarization and BJP coming to power in due course with increasing strength. That is what has changed during this time. And because of that, in turn, the politics of Hindutva has become more strong, and its parent organization, RSS, its branches and its reach has increased much more during this time.
Thank you so much, sir. There was certainly a very important question, like the narratives. What's actually changed, specifically this context, and wonderfully narrated and wonderfully spoken. Thanks a lot. Would like to move on to my fifth question. One question says freedom of expression. Certainly, in today's context, freedom of expression and dissent in today's India, the shrinking space for rational voices. Please, your comments.
See, this freedom of expression is a central pillar for democracy. And with this government coming to power, the people who are in, of course, one is that opposition started becoming weaker after 95, 98, and then in 2014. Second is that those people who are opposed to the government policies, generally they are labeled as anti-national. And there is a second word called urban Naxals. So this is for those people who are disagreeing with the policies of the government, which many a times do violate the democratic norms in a very strong way. The third point here is that this government has tried to take over the media through its corporate cronies. From 2003, once Mr. Modi was Chief Minister of Gujarat, his acolytes in the corporate world, they started buying different media houses, the culmination of which came in buying one of the very objective TV channels called NDTV. So from that angle also, it started spreading that opposing the government is like opposing the state. So many people who have expressed their opinions and who have been working for freedom of expression, they are either blacklisted, condemned, sometimes jailed, and because of which there has been a heavy impact on the society as far as this is concerned.
Thank you so much. I picked up your narrative, very powerful and very relevant. Like, opposing the government means opposing the state. That's very different narrative, which has just cropped up recently during the reign of this particular government we've been, addressing. So thanks a lot for that. Would like to move on to my fourth question. Says youth and secular values. How can younger generations reclaim India's pluralistic legacy?
Dr. Surendra, this is a very difficult question. Point is that during last 70 plus years of India's independence, the parties which had been in power never realized the threat posed by the narrative being propagated by Hindutva forces, RSS downwards, and later on joined by large section of media. So the opposition parties never realized it, and today the narrative spread by RSS and its organization has spread far and wide. So people generally get taken by this narrative, and they try to see this country as a Hindu nation, contrary to what our constitution says, that we are a secular, democratic, socialist, etc., democracy. So countering this is a very $1 million question, so to say. And for that, first thing is that there has to be a large number of social workers. Of course, we have a lot of social workers who are extremely devoted to different sections of human problems, including child rights, women's rights, farmers' rights, Dalit rights, Adivasi rights. They need to come to a common alliance on not an organizational alliance, but a common program to defend the democracy. And for defending the democracy, the prevalent hate against sections of minorities is extremely dangerous, because this hate forms the fertile ground for orchestrating communal violence. And with the orchestrating the communal violence, there is a polarization in the society, etc., etc. So this is a multi-step process which we have to pursue. Number one, to identify what are the misconceptions, myths which have been spread by the Hindu nationalist forces. Number two, there have been raised the barriers, the walls of hatred between different communities. Number three, different political institutions have also been subtly infiltrated by these communal elements, especially police, bureaucracy, uh, partly judiciary, and all that. So, and of course, in education and media, they have a heavy presence. So, for a younger generation, there is a lots on hand to do as far as countering this narrative is concerned, countering their influence on the youth and general society is concerned. A lot needs to be done so that we can revive the ideas of idea of India, which was part of the freedom movement, which is part of Indian Constitution. Those ideas have to be spread far and wide and in a very effective way. They cannot be done merely by some small steps and being satisfied with that. This message has to really, one has to ensure that this message is really imbibed by young people, uh, broad sections of society, including majority, minority, women, workers, everybody. These ideas have to be firmly made to reach to them.
Thank you so much. This is certainly a wonderful narrative and very authentic scientific data that you talked about. Like
Thank you.
Indian Constitution and freedom movement has to be a very mighty reflection into this context. So, would like to move on to my fifth question or wrap-up question. Very, very important questions. Question says, role of civil society in safeguarding constitutional values. What can citizens and academics do? I would also like to request you if you can bit of give sure make it into a blend of Dr. Badker's perception also in this.
Uh, how to reach this constitutional values to the average people is a very, again, very important question. First of all, actually, I will uh, put your question in the other way around. First is Dr. Ambedkar's contribution. I must say that these days, a lot of people are raising doubts about Ambedkar's contribution in constitution making. But I must tell you that Dr. Ambedkar's whole life struggle was for social justice and for struggling for democratic values. It is in this direction that he organized the burning of Manusmriti, which is a tome which gives values of caste, gender, hierarchy, and a stratified society relating it to religion or dharma. So Ambedkar struggled against that, and through his struggles, the way he made the impact on the national movement. He was not a part of Congress. He was not a part of any other party, but he had his own strong opinions. So national movement was very much influenced by Dr. Ambedkar's yearning for equality, eradication of caste system. So it was Dr. Ambedkar's efforts which made Gandhi to take up this struggle against untouchability. So same Ambedkar it was Mahatma Gandhi, the leader of the national movement, who suggested that Ambedkar should not only be in the cabinet, interim cabinet, and later on the full-fledged cabinet, but also he should be the chairman of drafting committee of Indian Constitution. In that role, in the committee, there were few others, but their role was very marginal. It was mainly Ambedkar, and then it was passed on to the civil servants to help him as to how he takes it. So Ambedkar's role in Constitution is supreme and second to none. He was a full authority in himself, fully backed by the then Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru. Jawaharlal Nehru stood with him in all these efforts. Now, as far as the society is concerned, how do we reach it to the people, as you said? Now, question is, worshipping Constitution is of no use. Question is knowing the content of the Constitution. knowing how it advocates the values of liberty, equality, fraternity, social justice, how it treats all the citizens on par with each other, how it treats men and women on par. So that those particular values have to be creatively spread amongst the society at large. And I am happy to tell you, Dr. Surendra, that there are many groups which, which from last few years have realized that the central struggle in India is, number one, to preserve the values of constitution in our lives. Yes. This is being opposed by groups of forces in practice. They may pay obeisance to constitution. They may put their head on constitution as if they are going to it, but in practice, their politics is totally opposed to that. So this is something which the social groups have to start as a campaign, and in their struggles for rights of the sections of society which they represent, in their struggles also, this has to be integrated very deeply so that these values not only are remaining at the formal level, but they become substantive and part of our society and lead to the social change which we desire.
So, sir, you covered a wonderful topic today. India at the crossroad and communalism, secularism, and the future of democracy. You talked about Hindutva versus Hinduism, and you also talked about communal politics, narratives, and freedom of expression, which is shrinking at this time. The context and youth and secular values, and you also talked about civil society safeguarding and constitution values. Wonderful stuff. I'm certainly moved that worshipping constitution, your words, catching them on has no use, but knowing the content and kind of fraternity and the provisions which it has about equality and making it more compatible human possibility in Indian context is more important. That's really true. Every citizen and every academician researchers must know certain these kind of stuff. So that's the reason it's wonderful always to have people like you on board and hearing your voice. And thank you so much. As you're already familiar, resource a platform where we try to step through the noise to cause you more relevant and reliable and scientific sociological explanations on various societal matters, challenges, and matters that are a matter of concern today. And that's the reason you're on board. Thank you so much, sir. Giving your time, everybody knows about you in India and across the globe, and your wonderful voice. And this voice needs a lot of courage and dedication and hard work. A lot of inner guts are required to be Dr. Ram Puniyani. So we are very much glad, sir. Thank you so much giving your precious time. It was certainly a wonderful possibility and opportunity for us to have you on board, sir.